Welcome to The Art of Likeability, ranked one of the top podcasts in the world. In this podcast, you'll discover how to leverage likability to build stronger relationships, lead more efficiently, close more sales, and keep customers happy while increasing success in your professional and personal life. Let's jump in with your host, Arel Moodie.
What's going on, my Art of Likeability family? Arel Moodie here, your host of the Art of Likeability podcast. You ever heard of this podcast? First time listening? Welcome. You've been listening to a bunch of episodes? How come you ain't leave a 5-star review on iTunes yet? You listen to all this content, getting all this good content, but you ain't leaving no 5-star reviews. What's up with that? And by the way, if this is your first time listening, if you like this episode, go on and leave one of them 5-star reviews on iTunes. I check them almost daily. And when I see a new one, you know what I do? I take a big old bucket of Gatorade and I pour it on my 4-year-old son. You ever seen like in a Super Bowl when like the team wins the Super Bowl championship and then they grab the bucket of water or Gatorade and they pour the ice water onto their coach to celebrate? That's what I do to my 4-year-old every time you leave a comment on iTunes. I want you to imagine visually for a second, you could be part of a 4-year-old getting an ice bath, ice bucket challenge, hashtag ALS challenge back in the day. You could be a part of that by just simply leaving a 5-star review on iTunes, but you haven't done it yet. Why? Is it because you care so much about a 4-year-old you don't know? He's fine, okay? You ain't got to call Child Protective Services on me. I love him. I care about him. I feed him. I play with him. But when you leave a 5-star review, bam! I'll be dropping that water on his head. Again, I don't know. I'm having this habit of starting these episodes with these random rants. It's not like I'm sitting here saying to myself, I'm about to go on this rant and this is the direction I'm going. This is what happens inside of my heart and it comes out of my mouth into your ears, okay? So let's jump into today's episode. By the way, if you've not done so yet, please go to artoflikeability.com. You can do so on your smartphone right now while you're listening and sign up for our newsletter. You'll get a free report on how to instantly become more likable in any situation. And you'll get onto our email newsletter where we send a bunch of cool and helpful resources for folks just like you. So today I want to talk about an interesting topic that I do a lot of. I do a lot of public speaking and professional speaking. Absolutely love it. A lot of you might say, well, what does he do for a living? That's what I do. I travel around. I do speaking engagements. I do this podcast. I have online courses and products and I've written best-selling books. Do tons of stuff because I love helping and contributing to the world. But one of the things I love to do is public speaking. And I want to help you get over your fear of public speaking on this podcast. How does that sound? What if you could become a more likable public speaker? That'd be pretty cool, don't you think? Well, I want to help you with that because regardless if you want to be a professional speaker, like I do this as a profession. I travel around all over the world and do speaking engagements, and I love it. And for some of you, you might be like, yo, I want to do that too. Well, if you want to do it too, by the way, like if you're serious, like you just go to truespeakingsuccess.com. That's another one of the business entities that I own where we teach people how to become a professional speaker. So like if you're serious about like wanting to get paid and impact people professionally, go to truespeakingsuccess.com. We got you, okay? But for those of us who are like, public speaking sounds horrific. I don't want to do it, but maybe I have to do it for a college class or a PhD or for your work or for a raise that you have to do. Public speaking is something that at some point, most of us are going to have to face. And a lot of us, we're like, oh my gosh, like I get like scared and nervous, and public speaking is like always voted one of the top biggest fears that people have in the world. So you might be asking yourself, how do I get over my fear of public speaking? Now, if you are someone who's absolutely horrifically scared of public speaking, I'm going to help you after this podcast. If you're someone who loves public speaking, I'm going to show you how to become a rock star every single time, okay? Now, the very first thing to realize about public speaking, it is hilarious to me. I don't know where this came from. I don't. But for some reason, people think when you go up on a stage and you start speaking, that if you do badly, someone is going to take out a trident and toss it at you and impale you like the Anchorman movie. Like that's not going to happen, right? I've never been at an event where a speaker started to suck and someone picked up a spear and tossed it at them and said they just have to die. They've clearly deserved death. Right? No one's ever done that. I don't know where the idea of people throwing rotten tomatoes came from. I've never seen one rotten tomato get thrown. Now, one. I'll tell you what I have seen happen. Someone goes on stage, they get nervous, they start speaking. Typically what people do is they go, come on, baby, it's okay, you can do it. They clap, they say, it's okay, we're with you, go on. A lot of times we think we're not allowed to, be nervous, but there's something deeper to that. When people cheer you on, what you realize is no audience, and I've given over 1,000 professional speaking engagements, okay? All over the country, right? Multiple countries. I've never experienced an audience that actually wants me to fail as a speaker. Hasn't happened, right? And listen, I speak in a lot of times in places that other people cannot speak in. I speak in the inner cities, I speak in the hoods, I speak in really tough social environments, I speak in really tough business environments. I speak in places that a lot of people think like, yo, that's gonna be real hard. And in my head, I'm like, it's really not, because I've never met an audience that actually wants me to fail. Because think about it. If I'm in the audience and I have to sit down and listen to you speak for 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it might be, do you think I want to be bored? As an audience member, do I want to hate myself? No, I don't. And typically, if I feel like you really care about me, I want to know why you care. So I want you to first realize there is no audience that really wants you to fail. Unless you're like a cast member of some random reality TV show I never heard of called Who's the Worst Speaker Anyway? And the whole thing is about blowing spitballs at you to throw you off during your speaking engagement. That's not a real show, by the way. If it is, the world has come to a really horrible place, because that's a horrible show idea. But that could be the only place where I'd imagine people want you to fail. So I want you to get this in your head. People don't want to see you fail. They actually want to see you succeed. Once I really got that, and I've been on stages and I've said some stupid things and I've made mistakes, and people always are like, they're there for me. They're there to support me. They're going to say, it's okay. And as long as I don't say to myself, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake, what am I thinking, blah, blah, blah. As long as I don't do that, they're not going to laugh or whatever. And even if I do make a mistake, and even if I did go, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake, oh my God, most times they'll be like, yo, it's okay, just start over. Or it's okay, just keep going, okay? So I want you to get, no audience wants to see you fail. I don't know why everyone thinks an audience wants to see you fail. Secondly, if you're on stage or you have the front of a room or you're speaking for whatever reason, you're the authority. Just because you have the stage, just because you have the microphone, you're the leading authority on the subject. People are like, yo, this person wouldn't be speaking unless they were chosen because they're important. If you're at a business meeting and you're delivering a message to your team, this person wouldn't be speaking unless their team trusted them to speak. So 9 out of 10 times, or in my opinion, the way I mentally see it, honestly, I see it 10 out of 10. If I'm speaking in a situation, people don't want me to fail. And 2, they see me as the authority because because I have the microphone and I'm on stage. Just because of that, they're like, well, this person clearly must have something important to say. Now, let's say in this random world, this isn't true. And you're like, Arel, but this isn't true. Well, how does it help me going into a situation thinking everyone's hostile and wants to kill me and hates me and thinks I'm a loser? It doesn't help me in any way. That actually will psych you out. The other strategy that I do is I imagine, and I do this in the world, by the way, but I do this definitely every time I do a speaking engagement. I imagine everyone in that room is my best friend. They just haven't met me yet. So when I go to speak, I'm thinking I'm about to make a bunch of new friends. And they're my best friend. They don't know they're my best friend, but they are. I'm about to introduce myself, whatever I'm talking about. If I'm in a business meeting, I'm like, yo, these are all my trusted colleagues. They may not know it yet, but that's it. If I'm at a job interview, I'm thinking these are all my future coworkers. They may not know it yet, but I know it. I treat everyone like they're my best friend until they give me a reason to treat them like an enemy. What most people do is treat people like they're enemies until they're given a reason to treat them like a best friend. So what I would encourage you to do is realize that walk around living in a world where everyone is your best friend until they give you a reason to treat you otherwise. You'll find more people are your best friends, okay? We talked about this before. Do this in speaking engagements, it works just as well. I go into any event and I'm like, yo, these people are my best friend and they don't know it, and I'm about to share some great information with them and it's going to be powerful and life-changing and I can't wait. So 1, nobody wants you to fail. 2, what was the second one I said? Nobody wants you to fail. And if you make a mistake, people are forgetting. Say, I just made a mistake. I bet you forgive me. I bet you were like, oh, Oh, he made a mistake. He's not polished. No, you're just like, oh, he made a mistake. He's human. Big whoop, right? I just made a mistake. You were fine with it, right? That's how people will treat you when you speak as well. And everyone's your best friend. They just don't know it yet. So they're just waiting to be your friend, okay? So I want you to really focus on that. I want you to focus on this mindset that these things happen. Now, in addition to that, you might notice yourself on stage and you're getting really nervous and you're getting really uncomfortable and you're like, oh gosh, I'm messing up. What should I do? Here's what I encourage you to do. Every time you are practicing your presentation that you're about to give, most people have what's called, I call them at least, sticking points. These are points in your presentation where your mind just like always blanks out for some reason. And you're like, I always forget this transition. So then what you do is you give yourself a cue. You can either write on a postcard, you can put up on a PowerPoint slide, something where you always mess up or where your mind goes blank. Just put a reminder for you on where you're going. A lot of people write out all their notes, and it's like, well, if you like get tunnel vision because you're nervous, like you look at all of these like long notes and you don't know where you are. So it's important to just go through the presentation as best you can and find out where you have your sticking points and then write those down. Many times, if I notice I blank out when I'm presenting, it's happened to me. Like I'm just speaking, I'm like, I have no idea where I'm going next. I'll just say, let's rewind for a second. Let's go back to this point. And maybe I'll just rehash a point, and then I hope that rejogs my memory. Or I might pause, and then I look down and at my notes, if I have notes written, or I look at my PowerPoint, and I'll just pause, and I'll go maybe take a sip of my water, contemplate. Then I remember what I'm saying, and then I jump into it. A lot of times when you pause, you think it's forever, but for the audience, it's not. So I'll show you how this might work. Let's say I'm giving a presentation and I lose track of things. I'm like, all right, y'all. The next point I want to talk about is, and now let's assume I forgot my spot, right? So this is what I would do. I say, all right, the next point I want to talk about is, you know what? Let's go here for a second. And then I talk about whatever I do have on my mind. Even if it's not like the next slide or the next point, I'll go into what I do remember. Even if I'm rehashing an idea or something, I'll just pause. And then it's almost like I'm contemplating, should I go here? Should I not go here? And then I make the decision. So you can't fail when you give a public presentation. I've actually done a lot of training and coaching for people on public speaking. I enjoy it. I really do. If you're really interested in like getting better at public speaking, like the skill set of speaking, send me an email and maybe you could be a good coaching client. I'm not sure. But if you're dedicated and you want to do it, I'll let you know about it. Again, if you want to be a professional speaker, like get paid to speak, go to truespeakingsuccess.com. You can email me at info@artoflikeability.com, and I check all those emails, and so does my assistant, so you'll be fine, okay? Let me know if you're interested in the public speaking stuff, right? But the key is to realize that, like, you can't fail, okay? You can't, like, if you think you're going to fail, if you think you're going to suck, that's what's going to happen. You're going to suck, you're going to fail. Instead, I want you to focus on you're going to do well. You got best friends out there. No one wants to see you fail. And you got this. Like, you are the authority figure because you're in the front of the stage, okay? So if you have a meeting and you have something coming up, remind yourself where you go over the presentation. You got to practice a little bit, right? Go over, find out where you have sticking points, make visual cues on your PowerPoint slide or write down stuff on your cue cards. Have a flow of where you're going, and then just speak. If you have to stop for a moment and look at your notes, no one is going to care. People don't want you to fail, okay? If you get this, you're not going to be as afraid of public speaking, because sometimes you get up on stage and you're like, oh my God, everyone's judging me. They're wondering if my breath stinks, and they know deep down inside I'm not really a good professional and I shouldn't be on his. No one's thinking that. If anything, they're thinking, I hope this person really gives me some great information. And on the off chance that people are not thinking that, wouldn't you rather go into a situation believing that everyone wants you to see you succeed versus believing everybody wants you to fail? Think about that. So this information is not going to help you in any way. It's not. Like, I just gave you some nuggets of gold. You could literally probably sell this, for like a bunch of Bitcoins. But you're not going to if you just listen to this podcast. But if you apply this information, the application of this information will absolutely change your life, okay? So ask yourself, when is the next time you're going to need to practice some public speaking skills? Go in with these mindsets. This is how you overcome anxiety. This is how you overcome anxiousness. This is how you deliver a presentation from a place of power. There's a lot of other strategies. I mean, it's endless stuff, but you just work on that. You'll be great, okay? Make sure to go to www.artoflikeability.com. Sign up for our newsletter if you haven't done so yet and get our free report on how to instantly build your likability right now. And we got some really cool emails that we send out now. I've been writing emails and sending them, so please get some of those. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn at Arel Moodie. And if you need to get a job, go to dreamjob.artoflikeability.com. We got a really cool interview manual that helps you land the job. All right, I'm out of here. Sending you a big old high five. Here it comes, baby. I'm gonna put your hand up, metaphorically and or physically. I'll take both. Here we go, baby. You are awesome.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast, The Art of Likeability, and reach out with any questions you have. Until next time, remember, my friend, you are awesome.